This is Tuesday Tips for September the 23rd, 2025 here on Following Him, the Disciple Life. Tip: when you're by yourself somewhere, have an interesting looking, biblically related book. Now, when I say when you're by yourself somewhere, I'm not talking about when you're walking by yourself in Walmart. But when you're eating out, when you're at the park and you're, relaxing on a bench and you're reading, have a book that is biblically related. And by the way, make sure it's something good, not something wild and out there and teaching all sorts of, heresy and just ripping verses out of context and this sort of thing. But, something good. And it doesn't have to be something you agree with necessarily everything in it, but like the overall, general teachings of the book are good. And, it has a title that is interesting. What you'll find happen is that with this, people will talk to you. It will open up dialogue with people. And this is a pretty low effort thing, by the way. Now, you have to be willing to talk to the people when they talk to you. So you need to have the friendliness. You need to actually be reading the book. That this is not something you're going to want. This, you're not going to fake reading this. You're not going to pretend like you're reading it. No, already be reading the book. Perhaps have some familiarity with the book. I do suggest that you have read it or perhaps listened to it on the audio version at least once before you use this particular book. But it can be something in the process of reading. Just have some level of familiarity with it. And I have had people with the book sitting at the feet of Rabbi Jesus. It's a book that deals with like the Jewish cultural context of the New Testament, particularly with Jesus and his ministry, and it's a really interesting, helpful read. Gives some insights into some things that you don't always hear about when it comes to that Jewish cultural context. I've had people come up to me on more than one occasion at different restaurants that, and these will be people that they're seekers or they're already open to the Christ to a degree. Maybe they, consider themselves to be religious. But these are, these people that have that sort of interest. When they see that, they might want to talk. And it's my experience that sometimes they do. And particularly if it's something that maybe is a little bit different, like that book, Sitting at the Feet of Rabbi Jesus, it's a little bit outside the mainstream. I think perhaps become a little bit more mainstream in recent times, like with the popularity of the show The Chosen. More people are beginning to see that Jewish background for Jesus and his ministry. But still, kind of a new thing, interesting, and they'll talk to you. I mean, the thing is, as a disciple of Jesus, you want to reach out with truth to others. You want to share the gospel with others. You want to, make disciples of all nations. The disciples, when they were commissioned to make disciples, they were to teach them to observe all the things that they have been commanded. Well, one of those things they were commanded was to make disciples. So that's something we all need to do our best to do our part in. And yes, we'll all have different roles and such in that, but this is like I said, it's a low effort way to make contact with people, but I have found I can make contact with people when I'm by myself somewhere, I have an interesting looking biblically related book with me. So that's my tip for the day. You have a great one, and shalom.